What's up, y'all? Welcome to another week, another episode of The Goalink Show. My name is Ben Harris. I am the founder of Goalink, a goal-setting community providing growth junkies, which is hopefully all of you listening, with weekly challenges to avoid complacency. If you're looking for growth and development on a consistent basis, you are in the right place. These challenges are inspired by brands to bring you new ways to improve yourself. You can kick back and watch me take on these exciting and uncomfortable challenges, or you can join me. I challenge every listener out there to complete these weekly goals. Catch the content on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at Goalink Group. The Goalink Show, this podcast, recounts experiences from the achievers of the world, but not just the success. We delve into the challenges and the struggle that we all face. How do we find the will to push through? What role do motivation, discipline, failure, spirituality, all these different things, what role do they play? Let's talk about the process and not just the result. We discuss this and much more on the show. Thanks for tuning in. This week on the show, we have Kory Keefer. He's the owner of Core24, a gym in Seneca and Greenville, South Carolina. There are plenty of podcasts out there with him if you want to check out that discuss the gym and the business side of it. But if you know me, if you listen to this podcast on a weekly basis, you know I like to delve deep. You know I love conversation. And so I wanted to discuss him as a person, his ideas, his thoughts, and his beliefs. There's some business stuff in there and some entrepreneurial stuff because I'm all about that too. I like the entire human spectrum, so that's what we get with Kory today. He tells the story of the moment that he knew he should leave working in the bar scene in Charleston, which eventually sparked his self-reflection journey. He saved money, which was a cool little thing that he did, of how he saved the money. And then once he saved $10,000, he booked a one-way ticket to London and he went inward, and that began his self-reflection journey. He talks about the importance of being us, being you, being ourselves, and paving our own path. Kory challenges us to be alone, go inward, and why we should move to a city where we don't know anyone. Kind of what I just barely did. And he also talks about the surprises and misconceptions of entrepreneurship. He's a dope dude. He owns a very successful, and it's a new gym. He's an awesome person. Let's get into it. Let's go. Ready to rock and roll?
Let's fucking do it.
I like it. All right, yo. Kory, thanks for being here, dude.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Like, for real, I know you don't have to do this, so I appreciate that you're doing this a lot, just for some random dude that you met a few months ago coming into your gym. And I already gave you an intro, like in the podcast introduction. So people are going to know you're a gym owner.
Yeah.
Core24, dopest gym in Greenville. We know that.
Yeah.
But I want to know more about you.
The behind the scenes stuff,
right? Well, yeah, behind the scenes. And we'll get a little bit, this is somewhat related to the gym, but I've noticed that every single person that walks in there, whether they're some fit Insta chick with thousands of followers or some just grungy dude, like you treat everyone like genuinely and you like truly engage with them. And I can tell you just don't mean it like you're a customer, like you truly mean that. So where does that come from?
You know, it's weird. I never try to judge a book by a cover, and it's easy to say, but everyone judges people when they start off. And I already have like a prejudgment of people, but I don't let that like cloud if I'm going to like talk to them differently or not. You know, I let them, you know, speak to me and how their, you know, actions are going to be, direct the conversation and where it goes, because essentially the way I look at it is you're coming to my house, you know, so I love when people come to my house every single day, and you know I want to be very just open, and you know I never know who it's going to be. It could be, you know, an oil millionaire, it could be, you know, a bum on the street, but like, you know, everyone has, you know, a different story, and you know the serendipity, I guess, is more of like, you know, who knows. And at the end of the day, it's like I would want to be treated a certain way going into a random business, and you know they're coming in to possibly give me money. Like, why the fuck should they give me money? You know, that's what's crazy. It's like when you do your own business, you're like, wait, someone's actually paying me money for like something. Like that's like a real weird, you know, thing. Like when it's like not your friends or family that's coming in like paying you for something. That's when it's like, wow, like I don't know you, but you're like trusting me with money, like you're you're giving me your hard-earned money. So it's like anyone that comes to my door is a potential person that's gonna like give me their money. I'm like, all right, well shit, like I need to make sure that, you know, they feel like I want everyone to feel the true version of me and the gym. And if they like it, cool. If they don't, cool. But you're going to get like more of a raw version of me. And, I'm going to treat you with respect. I grew up with that. My dad was always, I got my ass beat when I talked back and when I was disrespectful. That was like the two things that like I knew I was going to get. If I just like disrespected my mom or something, that was just like hardcore. So just like respect everyone, until they disrespect you or until like that, they prove that they are, not kind of like worthy or whatever you want to say. But, I always just trying to like be very open and I guess just honest and,
Is that, I assume, is that just like how you are? Has anyone treated you that way? And so you try and emulate that, or it's just naturally, because you are a gregarious person, like an outgoing person.
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up with that. My family's really loud, and like if you wanted to like get like during like Christmas or Thanksgiving, if you wanted to get a word in, you had to speak up and like you had to be about it. It wasn't necessarily gonna you can sit in the corner and no one will hear you. So that was part of it. But like my dad's a pilot, so I grew up traveling a lot too. So we would just go into different cities, so we're meeting a lot of people. And my dad's kind of cheap, so we'd always eat at like restaurant, like hole in the wall restaurants. So we'd always be like finding like new spots, taking the public transportation, and whether he was cheap or not, it like gave me a little bit of culture background. So it was like we were forced to just like meet people and like be open, and it gives you a restore in humanity that like people are naturally good. There's pieces of shit, but like most people are good people at the core, so I always kind of like look at it like that.
That's cool. And then kind of a flip on the other end, because I've seen your social media content, and it's funny, like I've seen this Maserati in pictures. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Like Kory I don't know what I thought. I didn't think it was yours though. And then you pulled up today, and I heard the engine. I was like, then I looked. I'm like, oh, and I was like, and so obviously you have to be somewhat successful to get that. Does it surprise you how successful you've been at all? Like, do you ever have to pinch yourself?
I try never to get complacent, so I don't actually see myself as successful. I had a dark moment in the gym today. I was working out, and I looked at something on an Instagram post, and it said like it was showing the economy in 2030, like what was like the economy going to be like in 2030 for different countries, and like Bangladesh was like, oh, the economy's going to be in 2030. I was like, oh damn, 2030, it's like 10 years from now. Fuck, I'm gonna be pushing 40 in 10 years. Like, I'm not where I need to be right now. Dude, it was like dark. Like, I just had like a sit down. Like, dude, I am not anywhere fucking close where I need to be. Like, I need to be stepping my game up way more than I am right now. And it was like just like a kind of a self-reflection of, I feel like I am doing good to some people, but then some people I'm just like doing shit. There's some people that are my age that are like, multi-millionaires doing way bigger things. And I'm like, fuck. So, I try not to compare myself to other people that I don't really know, but it keeps me kind of grounded in essence of not just like compare myself to people that are like not successful or, vice versa. So, it's not an event either. So, I'm pushing that like 18-hour days sometimes. Like, I'm opening the gym tomorrow at 5 a.m, doing, I'm probably going to be doing like 12, 14 hours. It's just like, it is what it is. So, to me, I see the hard work in every day. So it's almost coming slower than I want it to be, and I've learned more patience within it. Cause when I first started, I was like, why isn't this shit happening tomorrow? And then I'm like learning, being years in and year and out. So, it's cool to see it stuff, like I said, stuff kind of come in action, but it's also like not where I want it to be yet. And I don't know if it ever will, and I think that's just kind of part of it, the process,
That is part of it.
So, but like, I don't know, I'm just like...
So what are some goals? Like whether it's a financial or just a career success goal, like what's in your head of where you're trying to go?
One of the career goals with the gym is I want it to be a recognizable brand throughout the United States and then in multinational. Like I want to like see a spot in London or in Paris. I want to see a shirt on someone across country that I've never seen before and be wearing my logo. Like I want to be that place that like is truly making a difference in the world of, just switching up the whole entire fitness game of how it's kind of just reimagine the whole gym experience. That's, that's one of the goals. And, success wise, I want to be able to travel anywhere in the world and there's not like a money figure. It's just I don't want to have to worry about
You want
money.
freedom.
Exactly. And, like, obviously money has to be to that,
Yeah.
but, I want my grandkids to be, set up if they need to be. Not necessarily like trust funds where they're just going to grow up and they have money, but like where we have funds that I want to experience everything in life, honestly. Like,
Yeah. And I've seen good sides of not trust funds, but like you have to do X to get Y.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. Like you have to say you pay for half of tuition, you have to get X grades, and then you get this money.
Yeah. What I think like what would be kind of cool is if I don't even know if this is something people do or not, but if I'm, setting funds for my kids that like when they turn, 12, they get $1,000 to invest into something, but they have to invest it, like it has to go towards like them starting their own business, them investing it in the stock, them investing it into something to kind of like get in that mindset of like, okay, like you can't just buy something, but if you're going to buy it, what is the investment going to be in it? And kind of get that more in their mindset. And then like when they turn like 14, something else, maybe like 16, and then like, can build that up so that they're building their own wealth with maybe wealth that's given to them, but it's like hard working, not just like, oh, you turn 25, here's, $1 million. It's like, okay, I built my way up to $1 million, but I don't even need your funds, Dad, because I made my own with this, and that's just going to help me hedge some more or something,
Have you, were you raised that way? Like, did your parents ever sit you down and say, hey, Kory, this is what you do with money?
Not necessarily, but my mom is very entrepreneurial, so she set me up with like a gas card when I was super young. She set me with a belt card and to shop with herself.
That's cool.
Or to me buy jeans and pay it off, to build credit at a young age. So she like taught me that.
That's smart.
She was very smart with that because I had no idea, and a lot of parents don't. And then, so I was able to get like different loans, credit cards and stuff at a younger age because I was able, or because I had credit built up from like my mom and stuff. So they did help me with that. Not necessarily investment, but they helped me. My mom like started a bunch of businesses like youth centers. My mom's been very like community activist, and she's very just like does it. She doesn't talk about it, she does it,
That's dope.
So that's like, my dad's a pilot, so he's very like structured. This has to be that. My mom's like opposite. She's like, all right, like fuck it, we're doing it, So, so it's a little bit of both. But yeah, I grew up to a small essence of that. But I mean, I didn't grow up wealthy. I had hand-me-downs growing up. That's part of it. But I was taught the value of a dollar. Growing up. My dad, like I said, he was cheap, but there was meaning behind him not being just frugal all the time. So there was underlying lessons, I think, in that, rather than just like, here's money,
That's cool. I want to ask, because you were talking about your mom, and at this event, at the GVL Hustle event you spoke at, this networking event in Greenville, like your mom was there, and I can tell you have like a good connection with her. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Just like, what's one moment, like, I've never like asked somebody about their mom, at least recently.
Yeah.
But like, why do you love her? Like, why does she stand out in your mind? Or heart?
Yeah.
Or
No,
soul?
it's funny because Mother's Day was this past Sunday. Yeah. So my mom's always been the non-judgmental, like, I get it, I can relate to you. She's like one person that like gets me to the core. My dad would be pissed off at things at first, and then like more of the structure. And I have a really great relationship with both my family. We were actually talking about this at dinner. We were talking about like daddy issues or mommy issues. I was like, I don't have parent issues at all. Like, I really don't. Like I'm just been blessed with that. I cannot thank them enough. They've been amazing parents.
That's cool.
Yeah, but my mom, she's just always been like the rock there. Like, when shit hits the fan, like she just like knows the answer. Like when I'd spill milk, she figured out. When I would like mess up my handwriting name, she'd figure out how to like to make it look like my hand. Like it was just every little thing. Like if I messed it up, she knew how to like make it work, or to be creative enough to make something out of it. So I think that was, just that connection, and just her just like understanding. We weren't like best friends, like my parents were never my friends, but they would like, they were understanding. And what was cool was both of them just like taught me like, it wasn't weird if I wanted to do something like be you. Like if it was
That's
doing
cool.
art or whatever, sports, it was just like, I looked like a hippie at one point. I had long hair. Like I skateboarded, anything with wheels I was on, any sports. But like, it wasn't like, why are you doing that? There was never like if I had a different fashion sense, she was like, don't do that. It was just like, okay, like if it's not crazy expensive, like, let's do it, So I think that was like super cool, and just like letting my creativity of me be me, and not like saying you have to look a certain way, or you have to dress a certain way, or you have to talk a certain way,
That's cool, dude. Do you want kids?
Yes. Well, I of course I want to. I don't know when.
Yeah.
And I'm the last Keefer, so like I need to have a boy to like keep it going. Like I gotta have a
Lots
guy.
of pressure, dude.
I know.
Lots of pressure on the swimmers, dude.
My mom wants kids so bad. My sister's married, so I'm like, look, talk to my sister. She's been married for over 5 years, 6 years maybe.
Is it only you two, or how many siblings do you have?
Yeah, it's just me and my sister.
Cool.
But yeah, she wants.
But the last
so bad.
Keefer out of everyone, like your dad's siblings.
Yep. Just me.
Dang, dude, you gotta.
Yeah, I'm literally the last, because my sister's now a White. That's her husband's last name. So that's gonna be the Whites from there on, and I'm the last Keefer. So, not only do I have to have kids, I need to have a boy. So crossword, and everyone's like, dude, you're getting cursed with like 6 girls. And I'm like, oh, great. So yes, I do. I've told my mom, because she's a bit pressure, but she's always like, my mom is a saint. She wants to take care of kids. She wants to, spoil them. Like, but I need to be ready, and I need to be selfish now to experience life, so that when I have a kid, I can experience a different part of life and I don't resent them in a weird way.
I feel you, dude.
So it's like, I'm not at that point yet. And I know that, I recognize it. So like, if I had a kid now, I'd be the best father I could be. And I think I'd be great, but I wouldn't be the greatest father that I know I have potential to be, if that makes sense. Dope. And my dad he was 21 when he had me and my sister, like super young. Like I give him mad props to it, and that's awesome. But like, I'm in a different area and mindset, and I, like I said, if it happens, it's accidentally, and I'm, going to man up, and I'll take responsibility and take the best. You'll grow up. Like no one is ready, I guess, per se, to be a father. But like, I just deep down, I know like I'm not meant for it yet. Yeah. So just recognizing that.
How much do you trust those feelings that you just mentioned, like that you're not ready for it? Like, what do you believe in spiritually, or like let's go there? Like,
yeah. So, to answer the first one, I trust that a lot. Like, I'm pretty self-aware. All right,
You're definitely self-aware.
Yeah, I'm learning more about myself every day, but like, I'm not afraid to look inside myself and know what's right for me and not. And, so I trust myself right now. It's not, that could change next year. And that kind of goes with the cars. Like, I want to enjoy cool cars while I can, and don't have a family that comes first and be like, oh, it doesn't make sense to get a Lamborghini that only has 2 seats and I have a fucking kid, like maybe I'll have enough money where I can have 20 cars. But right now, that people ask that, and I'm like, look, I enjoy like fast things. And like at this point in my life, I can afford it, and I can like do it without a family. It could change next year. I could maybe not have any money. I could have a family. Like, so it's like at this point in life, it makes sense. So let's do it, and let's like seize the opportunity instead of looking back when I'm 80. I'm like, damn, if I would just got those exotic cars when I was younger, wouldn't that have been so cool? Like, so, I don't want to, I don't do it to front, but I just do it because I'm like, okay, like this is me right now. And this is what I want to do. So I know I kind of went down a side angle.
No, that's good, dude.
But
let's keep going.
Yeah. But, I grew up a Lutheran, so I am, Christian, grew up like very, I guess, traditional Lutheran. It was I guess traditional is the best word. It's not like a new age church. Like, there's not a huge band. It was like choir. Like, you dress up super nice to go to church and everything. Like, it wasn't wearing shorts and a t-shirt. You like didn't do that. And I was confirmed. And it wasn't like I never questioned it. I questioned some, and my parents were very open about me like talking. My dad grew up a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. So like hardcore one side. Yeah. My mom, she grew up as like a Baptist. She was in Alabama, so I think it was Baptist or something, a little more like Southern. But my dad wasn't big into Jehovah's Witness, so he, they ended up being Lutheran, and it was just something I never questioned really. I questioned like some things, but it was just like, you go to church, you believe in God, that's just what you do, and I guess getting older and learning more about myself, or just like, I question everything in life. So I question parts of religion. I question, what is true or what makes sense. Because, the Bible is pretty I guess, different interpreted. It's like, because most people read the King James Version, which was wrote for King James. So like before that, it could have been completely different. There's some Dead Sea Scrolls that we don't even know what those mean, or, there's a lot of things that who knows what the true Bible had in it that is lost. And now it's, into this. And it's crazy that, Baptists can think one thing versus Catholics and stuff. And it's pretty much all from the same book. And it's like, well, you can't drink on Sunday, but you can. And this is not right. You're going to hell for this. And I'm like, it's all from the same thing. And I talked to my mom. This is one thing I did question when I grew up. I was like, Mom, what if someone is born in India and they grew up, Hindu or whatever, and they had no idea what Christianity was. They have never been exposed to it ever, and they were a good person.
Yep.
And they were just an amazing person. They helped the community. They did everything. They believed in Hindu, and they believed, that religion, and then they died. Where do they go? Do they go to hell since they're not Christian? And, that was something that would always stump my mom a little bit, and she wouldn't know which way to go because, it's like they're a good person, but they're just in a different part of the world where they get brought up completely. If you're very sheltered and you aren't able to really think for yourself, and that's just what you get brought up, but you're a really super, true human. But, so that's where it still kind of like, it's weird to think about that. And it's weird to think about, religions has been around for, ages.
Forever, man.
So it's like, in some senses, like, is everyone wrong about it? Like, is humanity wrong about it? Or is, the millions and billions and trillions of people, there has to be something right about it because it's been around for so long. I don't know. It's like, it's a weird thing to think about. And
it is. One thing that I've heard someone say about it is, and there's definitely religious people listening to this, but, we're all keeping an open mind. Like I don't believe in religion, but if someone does believe in religion, that's dope. Whatever you believe in, like, I respect, like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, I truly mean that.
Yeah.
Let's just, like, you don't have to believe what I believe to love me.
Yeah.
And I don't have to believe what you believe to love you.
And I think that's, in America at least, it's, if you believe something different, whether it's political, religious, or whatever, it makes you, like, bad. Or if you're, like, it's weird. It's society's almost not allowing people to have different opinions, and it's okay to have different opinions. Like, that's what, like,
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what's like, everyone doesn't supposed to be, singular thinking.
No.
Like, it's part of being brought up differently. That's how you have very intelligent conversations, is like, oh, I disagree with you. I'm not going to get mad and bash you.
And learn something new.
Exactly. I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck you. You're a creep or whatever because you believe something different, and, like, protest outside your work. I'm like, okay, I respect you. Like, let's talk about it.
Let's listen.
Yeah, let's see why you have a different perspective, and it could, enlighten me on something new. I'm not saying I would change my perspective, and I don't think necessarily you should either, but we can have a, open this conversation about it. And that's like what part of makes America a melting pot and supposed to be different, is having different views, having different cultures. And, it's weird. It's like, if you believe in one way, you have to, like, push it on everyone else, or, like, you can't be hanging out with someone. I don't know. It's weird. And I don't believe that mentality is like what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Like, if you get to know someone and listen and understand their perspective, dude, even someone like, I'm going extremely, like, radical, but like Donald Trump, like, I'm sure if I sat down with him, I'm not sure if he'd be, like, honest,
Yeah.
But, like, if you or anyone like that, like, who were to sit down, has, like, extreme views, like, if I listen to the perspective and, like, they poured out their soul, like, and were vulnerable, I'm sure I would have empathy for that person.
Yeah.
And, like, understand it.
Yeah.
And, like, back to this quote, it was about religion. It was, every religion thinks other religions are all crazy except theirs.
Yeah. No, and it's true. And what I was talking to this girl at the gym the other day about it, and there's so many wars and so much death has been shed over religion, which is so crazy to think about, like, something that's supposed to be so spiritual and, like, right, that so many people have died from, and, radical Islams or radical Christians or whatever, like, have like, killed other people just because, you're a certain way. And I mean, I guess even in the Bible that, Jesus was put to death because he was a certain way. And, and throughout like the Bible, it talks about that, which is, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to think about.
I've never thought about that, actually. Yeah. That's weird. Maybe I have, but it finally just clicked that Jesus died because he was crazy, basically. Like, people didn't believe him, like, Yeah. And now Christians are, this is a generalization, but like persecuting or judging other religions for being crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is, And growing up too, like, I always thought it was weird that the most Christian people I knew were the biggest judgers. Like they would judge me for acting a certain way, or if I drank or I went out, they would judge me more than anyone. And I always was like, shouldn't you be the one that's like the least judging person and the most open and like the most understanding, whether you're doing it or not? That's like part of being a Christian, is that you like accept everyone for who they are. But it always seemed, the opposite. I mean, I grew up a lot around like Southern Baptists, so they're, kind of, one side of it. But that was always kind of was weird. I was like, you should be the last person that's judging me the most, But yeah.
You definitely don't fit in a box, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And you're definitely more introspective than I would have guessed. Do you just like sit there and think? Do you have meditation time? Do you journal, or you just think and like?
So I've done a lot of all those, actually. In college, I didn't really do too much of that stuff. It was more partying.
Makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot more partying down in Charleston. I lived with roommates. I lived in the fraternity house, so there wasn't that much me time.
And just so everyone knows, College of Charleston, it's how many girls to guys?
When I was there, it was like 8 or 9 to 1 girl to guy ratio.
That's insane.
Yeah, there was no football team, so there was like.
That's all we need to say.
Yeah. And it was on the beach. It was super party. Like I loved my time there. I don't know as much education, but I learned other things. But I was like, I'll never be able to live by myself. I always like said that to my roommates. I was like, there was no way I'll ever like live by myself until like I'm married. I always thought I was gonna have roommates and stuff because I always liked the company. I always liked what was going on, what was that. And I still know people that still have roommates and they're older than me. And some of it is because they're afraid to be by themselves. They're afraid to have that like self-reflection time. Because if you always busy, you don't have time for yourself. And I think that even happens with parents, where they have kids at a young age, so they're always busy throughout their life, and they never know who they are until they're 7 years old or something, and then they figure out who they are. And it's almost like in the latter part of the years where they can't do too much about it. So, when I graduated, I traveled Europe by myself for a while, which was I learned a lot about myself because I traveled completely by myself. And then I started living by myself, and I've lived by myself ever since then. So
how many years has that been?
Probably like 6, 7. Damn, I'm getting old. Fuck. Yeah, like
You're not, dude.
Now.
Trust me. We're young, dude.
Yeah, like 6 or 7
We're going to
years
live
now.
till we're over 100. Like, we got this. Like, we should still have urgency, but at the same time, like, enjoy it.
So, yeah, like 6 or 7 years. And, like, within that time, I started, like, playing music, but then I would just, like, not have music in my house. And I would be okay with, like, with my thoughts and just sitting on the couch thinking about decisions I've made, what's right, what was wrong. I even thought about trying to get like a float tank in my house at one point.
Really? That's
I listened
sick.
to like Joe Rogan's podcast. I was like, damn, I want to see if I can get a float tank to like, just know my mind more. I wanted to know who I was. And so it was the first time in my life where I didn't have like family around. I didn't have friends around. I moved to Greenville. I didn't know that many people when I moved here. So it was, a time for me to like figure myself out a little bit. And I think that helped. So when I was traveling Europe, I did a journal for a little bit. I don't necessarily keep a daily journal, but I love writing. Like, I'm not good at writing. I love just the physical act, like,
and the art.
Yeah. So if I'm doing notes or if I'm like putting ideas out, I write it. It's good and bad because sometimes, dude, I have so much fucking paper. I need to like have it organized. like it just it's all over the place. So I like that better than typing. I like technology, but like getting my ideas out and stuff, the pen and paper just feels so much better. So I do that. And I don't necessarily, if I say like I meditate like actively every morning, but I'll take parts of my day and I will like meditate. Like even today it was like micro meditation. If you like were like, I don't even know if that's a real thing or not, but like
it is.
Maybe it is. But today, like on the bench, like when I read that thing about 30, 2030, and I had that, it was like a weird, like close my eyes and, maybe it was like a couple minutes, but it was just kind of like,
So on the bench,
self-reflection.
you were working out
It was
the
like
gym.
in between my sets. Yeah.
That's cool. You just close your eyes. And that's the cool thing, dude. I love that because we think, nope, you got to sit down with some like candles and some music and just do some ohms.
Yeah.
No, dude. Like that's a really cool example that you can be in between sets and just breathe for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or a mantra or just be quiet or whatever that like I had somebody tell me like I can't get rid of my thoughts. It's like it's okay if you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just whatever meditation is to you, just sit there and breathe and let the thoughts come, go, or do whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah. And I feel like I should meditate more. I don't know why I haven't, honestly, recently. Because I was into it for a while, and then life happens. But that's obviously no excuse to like not take 5 minutes of my morning and do it myself.
So did you first find it when you took the 6 months in Europe? Is that when you first like went like inward?
Wait, when I started meditating, really?
Just when you really like went inward and you like started to think about yourself and the world more?
Yeah. So it was like I graduated, and then I spent the summer in Charleston. I was working at a bar and a gym and stuff, and I was, saving up money. I wasn't like going out that much, and I just like there was something inside me that was like, you got to get the fuck out of here. Like I didn't want to get caught in there's the Charleston bubble. It's like fairy tale land, and I know people that are still close homies that work at the bar or whatever. They're making 6 figures doing that, and they only work 3 or 4 days a week. But like
that's crazy.
It is. It's the food and bev industry is ridiculous down there. But at the same time, it's like I felt like there was more to my life.
Like you got to do more than just a bar.
I started like reading like books. I started reading books, and I was like, there's like something that's inside me, and I was like, and I knew the situation I was in, I couldn't do it in Charleston with my friends and everything, I was already setting that routine where like, I was going out or just whatever. It's like, I was like, okay, I just need to get out. And so the thing I was like, all right, when I save up 10 grand, that was my goal.
Oh, that's dope.
I'm booking a trip to London and figuring it out. So I told my mom,
Dude,
I was like,
sick.
And when I was working at the bar and everything, I took all my $20 and above bills, and I just put them in like a shoebox, and anything 10s and 5s and 1s, that was like my money I would live off of.
Oh, that's clever.
And so I was just like, okay, this is going to be like, I got to figure out how to live off any 10s or 5s. So it was like whatever I just got in. So whatever it would be, it would just be like, I would figure out how to live off that money, and whatever the other money I would just put away. And I saved up 10 grand like pretty quick, man. And it made me like be like crafty with like my money, because like shit. And I was like, I'm not going in my box to break a 20. I'm not doing that. Like, so when I saved up that, I told my roommates, I was like, my lease is done, I'm not renewing, like, you're all my homies, but I got to do this. And booked a trip to London and just didn't have a flight back, and almost got caught up at Heathrow. They weren't going to let me through because they were like, you don't have a trip back. Like, how do we know you're not going to illegally work over here? So I had to kind of like talk my way out of it at like customs.
For real?
Yeah. So they're about to like make me buy a trip back to show that I was leaving, but I didn't have to. And so that was like the start of it, because I partied, of course, but it was just me. Like, I had a phone. Actually, my iPhone fucked up at the time, so I had a burner phone. It was like a European burner phone, like T9, old school
sick,
Nokia.
dude.
It's like I could call my mom pretty much. That was it. And I would talk to her, like once a week or whatever. But yeah, it was just like I got there. I was like, I got to figure this out. It's me. And if I wanted to stay a place, I did it. If I wanted to leave, I would leave. I didn't have to listen to someone else, like my friends, to be like, oh, like, let's stay here another night, or I'm not feeling it, let's go out, or whatever. And that was like one thing I wanted to do, is like, it's going to have to make me be open and meet other people. Because if I was with like friends, I would kind of be within my group, Yeah. And two is like, I don't have to feel like I'm like appealing to anyone else's like needs at this point. It's like me. If I like want to go, I'll go. If I don't want to go, I'll stay. And didn't have a plan at all, and just jumped from country to country until I kind of ran out of money, and then had enough money to fly back. And it was that's what started, I guess, the self-reflection, or I guess to learn a little bit more about myself and what I was capable of, and what I could learn on my feet, and just kind of like from there. So
that's cool. Do you remember a moment that you thought, man, I need to do more? Or was it just kind of a general feeling, like day to day, like when you were in the bar scene?
So there was a couple points. One of them, I was talking to an older guy. He was like, he liked me. We became kind of buddies. He was probably 40 something. He was working at the bar. Like I said, he was probably pulling in $100K a year. He had a kid, and I could tell he wasn't happy. And he tried to rationalize working at a bar. He'd be like, well, I get 3 days to do whatever. I'm only working at night, so I get to spend time with my family and everything, which all was reasonable. But I could like look through what he was saying, and I could tell that he's not happy with his life or how it turned out. Like he wasn't proud to tell his son that he was a career bartender. And some people, that's what they're meant to be. And there's some career bartenders that are amazing that make millions of dollars a year. That's awesome. I'm not saying that's like not a
but it wasn't
reasonable
for
or
this
an
guy.
honorable career. But I could tell that was, and I was like, that's not for me. I'm just doing it to make cash, and I could see that he got caught up in it. And he got caught up in like, oh, I'm making $500 a night in cash, $600, whatever. And I get to see my friends because they come see me at the bar. And I'm only, because I was working out every day, going to the beach, fight. Like I was doing a lot of boxing at the time. And it was, my dad was like, dude, you're living the dream. And it was in a small, essence of it. But then I was like, I could easily see myself being 30 and still doing this. And then I would not be happy at all. Fuck no.
Yeah.
So that was a moment. And then there was another moment when I was with people, I guess moments, and I was with people that I was more or less like riding their coattails. Like I was in these exclusive places on these yachts or whatever because I was with people, but I wasn't the man. It was if I took the person out I was with, I wouldn't be in that situation. And I was like, damn, I don't want to be relying on another guy or girl to be able to like get me in places and stuff. Like I want to be the fucking man, And it was kind of like one of those. And I remember this girl who I'm still actually friends with. I'm not gonna call her out, but we were like at the bar or something. And I talk shit to people just like all the time. Like that's just like part of my personality. Talk shit to girls or whatever. And I was talking shit to this girl and she like looked at me and she's like, well, what the fuck have you done with your life? Or something like that. Like, and it wasn't like she was kind of joking, but it hit me hard. And I was like, I didn't have a response.
How old were you?
I had probably 21. Or 22-ish.
But what are you going to do with your life?
Yeah.
21.
I think I was like talking shit about her brother or something. I was talking shit about something about it and, making fun of whatever they did. But then she like looked at me and she's like, what the fuck have you done with your life? And I was like, damn. Like, and it hit me like, I said something sarcastic back, I'm sure. But like, I just remember that moment. I was like, damn, like, I don't want anyone to ever be able to say that to me. I don't want that feeling of like, so like looking back and like being like, have I done anything with my life? Like, have I fulfilled what I meant to do, and like I said, there was just something inside me where I knew like deep down I haven't, and like that was one of the points where I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And like if it is a bartender, when I know that, then I know that, but like I'm not experienced enough in life to know that like that's what's meant to be or not.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that, dude. What if that girl came back today and asked you that question? What would you say?
If she asked me like, what the fuck you
like
doing
right now, if she was on the mic, what would you say to her?
Yo, shout out to, I would say that, I'm working my ass off to change the world. And I truly can say that I am doing something to a small extent of that. Like I truly want to like change people's mindset about fitness in the gym. I want to create experiences in people's life. And I think that I'm doing that, or I'm on a path to do that. So it's funny, like I still talk to her and she says I don't even think she remembers the conversation at all, but she'll talk about like that I'm successful now. And I would just kind of like smirk, but I never bring it up to her.
That probably makes you feel good though, man.
In a weird way. Yes, it does. Yeah. But like I said, I don't want to get complacent and cause that's the enemy to success, when you're like, oh, like I made it. Like that's like when you stop making it, So, but yeah, I know I'm not where I want to be, but I'm definitely on way better of a path than I was at that point in my life. And I'm still figuring it out, I'm still figuring out what, my true meaning in life might be something that, piggybacks off what I'm doing right now, I feel like I'm on the right path, but I think it's still like evolving.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing. It can change. And even back to what you said about like being a bartender or working in the food and beverage industry, it wasn't for you. It doesn't mean it's not for other people.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to the hustle god himself, Gary Vee, but he was talking about hustle.
Yeah.
And he was like clarifying his context. He's like, this is what works for me.
Yeah.
Like just because I'm saying what I like and what works for me doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Yeah.
Make $50K a year.
Yeah.
and work only 8 hours and then see your family the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you happy? Do that.
Yeah. And the way I look at it, if you're in the top 3% of whatever you do, you're going to be making good money. Like if you are the top 3% bartenders in the world, you're getting flown around to these very exclusive events and you're making your own specialty cocktails and these, diamond restaurants or whatever, you're making a killing. Like you're probably making $1 million a year. I mean, there's chefs that have their own TV shows and they're world famous because you're a chef. I mean, there's, to the basic level, there's criminals that are chefs. A lot of restaurants, the people in the kitchen, and so it's like you have that level, or it's like if you're the fucking man at it, then you can be making a lot of money. So it's like, whether you're a horseback rider or whatever, if you are fucking balling at whatever it is, you're making a killer. Like you can be a broke ass painter, or you can be, someone who's selling your pieces for, $800,000 a canvas. It all is relative of like, if you are the best, or if you are the top 5%, you're making good money, but it's all depending on if you want to be the top 5% or if you just want to kind of go by it.
That's a good point.
So that's the way I look at it, is like, whatever you're doing, you can make, like, money's out there. You can make good money doing whatever it is.
What are your thoughts on, because you've talked about like partying a lot, but then also being like self-reflective. And I think sometimes we get caught in like, you have to be all or nothing. Like for me, like I was just telling you earlier, like I don't drink like coffee or alcohol.
Yeah.
And like for me, what makes me happy, honestly, dude, like the other weekend, I went to your gym on Friday night and then I went to bed. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like truly, dude, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
But if someone is at a bar like that I walk by, if they're happy, truly, I don't know them. I hope they are.
Yeah.
If that brings them joy, hell yeah, like do it.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on not being all in, or maybe being all in, or just balance in general and like doing multiple things?
I'm all in life, I feel like, just with life. Like,
I like that.
Yeah, I just want to experience life. And, that's relative to each person. But, like, I want to look back and not be like, what if I would have, like, did that? Or I wonder how it is to party on a yacht. Or I wonder how it is to, be able to meditate for 13 hours straight or something like that. Yeah. It's like, whatever it is, I want to be experience all that, and there'd be like no rock left unturned of like what that is with life. And, I don't go out because it's the cool thing to do. I don't just go out on Fridays because that's what everyone's doing. There's a lot of Fridays I don't go out, and there might be a Wednesday that I'm going out to whatever, like it's all like, I don't live for the weekends per se. I think that's a bad ratio of 5 to 2, ratio. I don't like that. I don't want to live that way, as a lot of people do. But I don't, like, when I'm partying or when I'm going out, I'm enjoying the experiences I'm having with people, like I'm good and bad about technology. I'm like good because I know technology is here and I love it, but I'm also bad because like sometimes I'll be out and my phone will be in my pocket and it's my girlfriend calling or something and I won't look at it for like an hour. Like literally, like I like being face to face.
She called during this interview.
I'm sure she has. Yeah. And it's like, like like when I'm out, like I like being out. Like I don't like looking at my phone when I'm out. Like that's why I'm out, is to have that experience with people. I like bonding over like when we're tipsy talking about ridiculous stuff, or, like some of the, I think, most interesting conversations I've had have been 2 and 3, 4, 5 in the morning, or just like I love like getting into mischief and like love being a little rebel. So it's usually that's what happens. Like when you're drinking a little bit, you'll like I just like it, like, I don't know, just like bending the rules a little bit and stuff. So, but I do it because that's like part of me. I don't do it to try to look cool in front of other people, but I think that's one of the reasons I like going out, is to have that experience of other people, to have a different experience and not just to be, out because that's what you're supposed to do on a Friday night. Like I think that's kind of bullshit.
That's cool, dude. You're definitely all in on life. I love that. And then you're big on just, what I've heard you talk about before is you're big on just you, kind of just what we just mentioned of just, it doesn't necessarily have to be rebellious, but it's just being you.
Yeah. And I think people are afraid to be selfish because selfish gets a bad word, and it's bad to be selfish. It'd be bad for me to be selfish if I had a family and wife and kids, and I was being selfish and doing my own thing when not taking care of my family. That's a bad time to be selfish. But when I'm 20 something, and don't have a wife or kids, that is a good time to be selfish, so I can kind of be self-aware so that I don't have to be. And that's what I'm trying to be, selfish in a good way right now, as much as possible, so that, I can give to my family and other people more when I know myself. So that's kind of the mentality I go, or the way I look at it a little bit more.
Dude, you should talk about this more with this is just my opinion, but like, you should intertwine this somehow with your gym.
Yeah.
Like these dudes, you have like really good insight.
Thank you.
That you should like intertwine that somehow. Like maybe you should take like my Post-its. So
just put them all over the place.
So Kory walked in and I said like, dude, you got to check out my Post-its, dude. My affirmations on my fridge and microwave. That's what you should put in your gym. So for people who've never been to Core24, like across the nation, tons of artwork. It's really, really cool, really artistic. But you should just forget everything else and put Post-its in there.
Just put Post-its on everything. Just randomly shit. Just Post-its all over. Like, I've mind mapped some of my thoughts, and it is all over the place. I'll have to show you a picture when we're done with this. When I was building the gym, I had it was a 14-foot piece of paper by like 4 feet, and I just mind mapped, like it was a random piece of paper that we had, like a poster or something, and I just started writing like everything that was going on with the gym, and I needed to get it out, and I filled it all up. And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, that is what anxiety looks like. And I was like, no, that's just what's in my head. I just needed to get it like on paper. And it was just like writing, I was circling and all that kind of stuff over. But yeah, I told you, just like writing, like pen and paper or whatever.
But truly, like, really, man, like, you have something to say. And I think going back to what you said about something more in you, I can feel that. Just to acknowledge you, like, I truly feel it and see it. And you're more than just some good-looking gym, young Maserati owner,
I hope so.
Like, truly, man, like, you have something to say and to do. So I'm stoked to watch it. And then back to bad gym ideas, like the Post-its. I want to tell a quick story of soon after I met you, like a month or so. You're being very cordial, as you are, to everybody, like I mentioned earlier. And I forgot how we got in this conversation, but I messaged you some ideas on Instagram, and then a couple days later, I saw you speak at this event, and then you mentioned this thing that you don't want to be like everyone else, and then you don't want to stand out, or you do want to stand out. You don't want to be like everyone else. And you said mindset marketing. I've never heard that before. I love that.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, damn, I was like embarrassed, but it was like such a cool learning moment that I was like, I sent him such dumb ideas that he doesn't want to hear. Like, he doesn't want to be like everyone else. But it was really cool. It was like a really cool moment for me to like learn more about you, and even just like it leveled me up. And so can you talk about business-wise or personally, why is it so good to not be like everyone else?
Going back is like, it's that singularity mindset, the group think that like it's easy to fall into. It's like, okay, let me just look at what everyone else is doing and I can fit in. And that was growing up, is I was kind of taught that it's okay to not fit in. I moved schools. When I moved schools, I looked super young and I had braces, and I was like, I don't fit in. So let me almost go to the extreme of like being completely opposite with not fitting in, and like just showing my personality through that. And at the end of the day, is I'm not going to be better at being Planet Fitness or at being someone else's personality as they are, so and it's not only like not being like someone else, it's just like being the best version of me. And when you see that, it's going to attract the right people, and it's going to attract the right customers and attract the right friends that are with me for me, and not with me because I'm trying to be like someone else, or the gym's trying to be something it's not. And then when you truly see the true version of me, like, what the fuck, So I think that's where it's, it's a little more scary, because there's not always like foundation or a roadmap of being who you are, because you're always going to be a little bit different.
Ooh, I like that, dude. There's no... And that's why it's... Yeah, dude. I'm just... Yeah. It's clicking on my head right now. But like, kind of like all those sayings about like paving your own path.
Yeah.
that's also another reason why it can be like difficult and more strenuous than paved paths that have been walked before.
You know, and it's been talked about, take the, you know, the path less traveled.
Yeah.
And all, I mean, there's so many like cliche things, but at the core of it, that's really like what it's about is your path is going to be untraveled because it's yours, you know, it's your unique one. And that's kind of what excites me, is that I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I know that I'm not following other people. I might be taking like nuggets of information and like, oh, that could work for me, or I like that idea, that piggybacks on something I was thinking, or, you know, whatever. But I'm not being like, I'm going to follow this guy. Like, I'm not going to follow Gary Vee and do exactly what he's doing for his life, you know, or, you know, I'm not going to follow Gold's Gym and do exactly what they're doing, you know, because they've already done it. They've done their things, you know, like I'll take some pieces that worked well, but then I'll like experiment to see what's me and what, you know, makes me unique, because no one's going to be me, or no one's going to be a better version of me than I'm going to be.
I love that, dude. Do you get scared? Like,
yes.
You get scared? Okay, well, let's quickly, well, you don't have quickly or slowly, whichever you prefer. Like, when was the last time you get scared? Like, what do you get nervous or fearful about?
Today, I got scared that I'm not going to live up to what I should be, you know, like that I'm going to like fall, not comfortable, but I'm going to look back and be like, damn, almost like regret. I'm scared to not have or I guess I'm scared of the things that I should be doing, or like I'm capable of doing, I guess, to say, like, to my full potential. You know, that's what I guess I'm scared about, is not living up to it, you know, of like what I like when I'm pushing 80 or 100 or, you know, 150, whatever the age is, we
straight,
can do,
brother.
You know, like, you know, 200 years old, whatever it is, whenever my last, like, you know, 5-10 years of my life where I'm just like, why did I not do what I should have? Like, I don't want that empty feeling of like, damn, I wish I would have done more. That's what I'm truly scared of, you know, of
so I have a similar feeling, but that also motivates me. Does it motivate you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's not paralyzing. It's not like scared of that I'm not going to do anything. It's scared to motivate me, you know, and I think it's, you know, it's a good thing in that sense. It keeps me like on top of it and grounded and just like moving forward. And like when I'm not always energized to do what I want to do, it kind of like pushes me a little bit further, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. What would you challenge people to do? Like, just anyone out there, what do you think is like a good challenge, a good exercise for anyone to do to grow or to level up?
I think one is to live by yourself in a city that you don't know people. Kind of like what you did moving here.
Yep.
Like,
months. Dude,
I think,
holy hell, brother. Like,
I'm sure you've grown a lot from that,
dude,
honestly.
and I'm still uncomfortable. Like,
yeah. And I think that's like, everyone says, oh, be like uncomfortable, but a lot of people know how to be uncomfortable. They're like, oh, do I just go to like a random bar I've never been to or something like that? And there's small things, but if you're in a point in your life, I would say move to a city that you don't know anyone, you know, and that makes you learn a lot about yourself.
it does.
You know, like very quickly, you know, you figure things out and it's exciting. I love traveling. I love moving to a space because it's a little different for me, but you know, I think and travel, I think traveling is a huge thing in life in general. It broadens your perspective. It humbles you. It restores humanity. I think traveling is one of the greatest things ever, honestly. My dad's a pilot, so it's in my blood a little bit, but you know, just like experiencing life. So I think, you know, traveling helps with that, and traveling to places that might not be, you know, tourist destinations, not traveling to the beach, you know, not the bullshit travel to, you know, Destin, Florida, where the fuck you want to go. Like, you know, it's like, you know, not knowing exactly where you're going, like booking a trip to a destination and then maybe traveling for a week somewhere in that area, you know, figuring out, getting a little uncomfortable, finding new spots, you know.
Dude, I love that challenge. Like, and that's exactly why I left Salt Lake, is because like this opportunity came up. So it was nice that I had this opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, but because at the end of the day, I was like, I know what my life looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it looks like if I move.
Yeah.
And for some reason I wasn't scared, but but yeah, dude, there's definitely been some growth, like, and I'm so happy. Like, I don't regret it at all. Like, I love it. But there's definitely been some moments, like, it's definitely not all like rainbows and like there's been some moments that I've truly been like lonely.
Yeah. And that's part of it. That it makes you appreciate the other parts of life. Like the rain makes you appreciate the sunshine a little bit more. You know, it's like you have to have both of them to appreciate, you know, each other. But yeah, I think that's part of it, you know. That's the road of entrepreneurship too. I was telling people it's roller coasters of highs and lows, but the lows make you appreciate the highs and vice versa, you know.
Yeah. What's one misconception about entrepreneurship that either you didn't expect when you started, or do you think other people should know about? Like, because it's we all know it's a popular thing now.
I used to think how easy it was. Gary Vee might have said this. Someone said this, and this really like hit home. And like I said, I wish I could give credit exactly know who it was, but it wasn't my thought. But it hit home when I heard this. I think it was Gary Vee, but they were saying that like, you know, people just starting entrepreneurship or starting a business, like thinking that they can just open a business and it's like there. He's like, that's like comparing me or whoever just like trying out for the NBA and expecting to be on an NBA team, being like, yo, like,
that was Gary.
Yeah, like, yo, homie, I'm going to play for, you know, Atlanta Hawks like this weekend. Like I'm trying out. You'd be like, fuck out of here. And that like hit home is like, yeah, like no one like if one of my homies like, yo, I'm trying out for the NFL like next week, I'm like, oh, fucking good one. But if he was like, yo, I'm starting my own business, you know, it's the same level of like people expect to start their own business. Like they expect to just try out for the NFL and make it and start, you know? So that, I think that was like a weird thing that like when he said that it hit home, I was like, damn, that is true. But like when I first started, I was younger and I expected things to be faster and a lot easier. But that was a misconception at first.
I think that's, again, just patience and the process. Like it's practice. Like give it time. Was the first entrepreneurial thing you did the app that you built or developed?
Yeah. Actually, kind of. So I was a matchmaker for a little bit. So that
yeah, you told me that. Okay. We should have started with, dude, you have to talk about this. This is so funny. You were Hitch.
Yeah, in that sense. Yeah. So that was like right when I was graduating college. I got, I guess, invited. I met some people. And it was kind of weird at first, but then it was like, oh, we're a matchmaking company, and they would send me on like blind dates. They would send me to like speed dating things, and I would like be kind of just like reading people and getting like contacts and leads and stuff. And I only did it for a couple months, honestly. But I didn't know, like, I was like making the girls want me versus like trying to find. It was weird. I wasn't like purposely doing that, but like
funny.
It was like that was like my personality. So it was. I wasn't good at like getting them with someone else. I didn't hook up with anyone.
You weren't a good wingman.
I can be, but that
You're too charming and good looking.
That was one of the interesting things. Yeah. So because that was kind of like my own business in essence. I was like figuring it out that way. But then I'm trying to think. Was there anything else that I was like more entrepreneurial? It was the gym and the app kind of at the same time. But the app was definitely like my first like. It was like. Success, failure, all into one, learning a lot of shit at the same time of doing the gym shit. It was like when I was hardcore in the gym, I was like splitting my time kind of with that. And that was one reason I think it failed, but there was a ton of other reasons. And like I said, it was making money, but we ended up making money, but it was also like, it wasn't successful like we thought it was, you know? So that was I guess the truest like hardcore lesson in entrepreneurship, I would say. Like my first like, eat it in the face. It's not always going to be like sunshine and like roses. And I knew success wasn't an event, but it made it feel like you can just have an idea and that idea will just take off. Like it will just like, it'll blow up, you know, without like, oh, there was actually like 3 years of planning and working hard. Then it blew up. You know, I was like, yo, this idea is dope. We put a little structure in place. It's going to blow up. That was more of I think one of the hardest lessons, or the first true lesson was like, that's not how it does.
That's cool, dude. That also reminds me of, have you seen like a graph of like the most famous composers and how many pieces of like their compositions that they've done?
I haven't seen that.
So it's really cool. It's like can't even think of
like a line graph or
I was trying to think all these graphs. Taking
one of
back
those
to
fucking
elementary.
graphs. Yeah. Pie chart. I don't know.
Just damn dots.
Yeah.
And essentially what it means, like the more compositions that they did, the more successful they were. Not all the case. I think Wagner, that's right. Wagner. I think he was like the exception. He didn't have as many, but like Beethoven and Mozart, they had like the most.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's like, but you really only know about like 5 or something
Maybe
of their
if that.
hundreds.
Yeah. That's
Like
true.
that's the thing is like, think about like businesses like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that many bad or failed ideas.
Yep, that is so true.
But you start off every single one thinking, "Damn, this is good. This is the one. This is it. It's gonna blow up," and then it doesn't.
Yeah. And I think there's points too to know to persevere through some things, to be like, okay, this is just a dip in this business, or this was a learning failure and I need to do something else too, and that's a fine line to find between the two.
That's dope, dude. Okay, so I have a segment in the show as we wind down. It's called Scroll My Soul.
Okay, hit me with it. I like it.
I like
Just find my soul in here.
So what that means is I keep a running list of all ideas, inspirations from conversations, podcasts, books, whatever inspires me. I keep a running list in my phone.
Okay.
And then I randomly scroll through. So I was scrolling through.
Yeah.
And I just stop and I pick something and then I read it and I want you to reflect on it. Just something come to mind. What are your thoughts on it?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So the thought for you is, we kind of already talked about it, but the process and destination are actually the same. So the process and destination are actually the same thing.
Yeah. And I think that goes to back what we're saying is that there is no final destination where where you reach that and you're like, I am the most successful, I'm done, because it's always like a little bit more. So like there's always like little milestones of like, okay, so it's like little small destinations within your life of like, I don't think there's a point in your life where I'm done with life. And I mean, that's it. I'm not living anymore. I guess that you can do that if you suicide, but like,
Yeah.
but like in the success elements is it's always, okay, I want to progress myself more. So it's like, okay, I did reach this. Now let me push myself more because I have such a big goal now, or I accomplished that goal. What other big goal can I do? So I think now let's start on that progress of it, or let's start the process over, or let's, build upon. It's just like the evolution of yourself, it's just figuring out more aspects of your life in that. So I think that's like, the process is always intertwined with
It's
the
always
end
going,
goal.
dude.
Yeah.
Same thing with money. It's like billionaires are still trying to make more money.
Exactly. It's like, and there's no money figure that I'm like, oh, when I hit this figure, I'm done, because who knows if that's going to be it or not, or like I told you, it's more of, I want to be free to experience life and not necessarily just when I hit a number in the bank account, that's when I'm done, so, because that number would, I always said you can be a millionaire and then buy a pack of gum and then not a millionaire anymore. Like, like I used to tell that when I was like a little kid. I was like, what if you have $1 million and then you go buy some gum? You are no longer a millionaire, So it's like, what the fuck, like you're, so it, that's kind of constant, thinking of that.
Well, dude, this has been awesome.
Well, thanks for having me. I love spreading some of my inner thoughts and ideas of what's going on right now. So it's cool to have different conversations than just strictly business too, because that happens a lot.
Yeah, and for real, man, thanks for being open and vulnerable and just being a genuine dude. And I know you have great things, so thanks for being so cool, man. For real, thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me, man. I hope you got some knowledge or something. Maybe some
we
laughs.
did. We got it all. Okay, adios.
See you, buddy.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that convo. Kory, we're going to do a challenge inspired by him, inspired by his brand, his gym, Core24. Because like you heard in the interview, in the conversation, he wants to be more than fitness. He wants to do something bigger in the world, more than just, hey, look good, He wants to create a culture. And so this week's challenge is inspired by him and Core24. So we're going to do physical, mental, and emotional fitness, which means a walking meditation. Because of course walking is physical, but you're thinking, which is mental and emotional. So we challenge you to take a walk every day, in the morning, in the evening, with your dog, with somebody. You could do it alone too. I challenge you to do it a few times this week. So take a walking meditation and record your thoughts. Be silent or listen to music. There's no rules. Do what you want. What ideas do you have? What feelings are coming up? Are your fears manifesting themselves? So take a walking meditation and just record your thoughts. I'm probably going to do it silently and just walk with no thought of where I'm going to go, and just think and record my thoughts. And that's it. So this is physical, mental, and emotional fitness. And there are a few ways you can report back once you complete the challenge. You can post on Facebook or Instagram using hashtag Goalink Challenge, tag us in your stories, or use the Goalink hotline. This hotline is designed for those who want to remain anonymous or don't have social media, but still desire a form of accountability. To use the hotline, call 385-626-0525 and follow the instructions. I'd love to hear from you all. Please tag me. Please send me your messages. Use the hotline. This is what life's about. I love seeing your messages. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for those who are doing the challenges. Whether you're sending it to me or not, you're the bomb. It means the world, and it's making a difference. So follow us at Goalink Group. Follow the content. My name is Ben. I love you all, and this is The Goalink Show.